guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Tao from Amazonian Angelfish. And yes, you guys just saw me bleaching my fish tank. That's right. There's a reason for me to do that. I am getting new fish, and these new fish are very, very expensive and at the same time very, very delicate fish. And I don't want to be those people where, I get the fish and I just mistreat the fish, and the fish will survive for a period of time and after that they just dwindle away and die. That's not what my goal is. My goal is to keep these fish alive for as long as I possibly can keep, and even breeding them. To me, that is my ultimate goal. So in this video here, I will take you guys along with me of my journey. I'm gonna be doing my tank maintenance and how I prep my tank prior to the fish arriving. This is gonna be a two-part series. Part one right here is just about me, taking care of my fish tank and what I'm gonna do to have that tank ready for my fish. Part two will be continuation of that and more of the unboxing of these fish. So if you guys like unboxing, I know that I don't usually unbox that much fish anymore because I have to be realistic and living in the world of reality. I can't keep all the fish that I do buy, and that's just how it is. I can't always buy fish and sell them off, or buy fish and sell them to the fish store. So I had to be very decisive, and I had to plan out which exact fish I want. So these fish will be my next target. So yeah, enjoy the video, guys. Alright guys, so this is the 100-gallon oceanic tank, and all the inhabitants in here are cleared out. The dantums used to be in here, and I pretty much just took them out and put them into a 75-gallon. Now they are hanging out in here and doing fine and everything, and the snails and the little betta and everything, they're all hanging out in here. Yes, they got downsized a little bit, but I have to prep the big tank for the fish that are coming in. And unfortunately they can't be in the 100-gallon tank anymore. This will be their permanent housing for now until they pair off or something, and they'll get relocated. After making the purchase of these new fish online, I messaged the owner, and the owner told me that I had to make sure I follow all his steps before he can even send me the fish and everything, and that's really good. And this shows that the supplier here, the owner, the breeder, they truly do care about their fish. He has to assess me on like what kind of level I'm at right now, and if the fish are how they're gonna survive and everything, pretty much. So I told him that I'm gonna be putting these new fish into the 100-gallon tank, and he pretty much told me that I gotta make sure that I sanitize the tank, and I gotta use bleach. I can't get upset about that, just because in the United States culture, we go ahead and just buy the fish and we clear out the tank and we just throw the fish in there. However, these fish are very, very expensive fish. They're actually the most expensive fish I've ever bought, like ever. On this channel and in real life. But these fish are one of the most expensive fish I've ever bought. It makes sense, and I can't follow the American culture where we just do our normal thing, buy our fish, throw it in there. And he told me that I have to use bleach, and I have to bleach out my tank and everything. And I told him that I kept this tank up for 3.5 years already, and I think I should be fine. But I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what, just because we don't do it doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. The more I think about it, I believe that we should practice more of like bleaching and everything, and bleaching our tank and everything. Sure, it's been running for 3.5 years, but it's what's best for the fish. The owner told me that the reason why we should bleach is because every fish tank has its own bacterias and pathogens that normal fish like these guys right here, they are used to already, and it doesn't bother them, it does not hurt them or anything like that. The new fish coming in, because they are very, very sensitive fish, they're not immune to all the bugs and whatever that's going on in the tank that normal healthy fish can handle. And especially these guys shipping in and stress and everything, it will make them vulnerable for any bacterial infection or parasitic pathogens or whatever like that that affects them. So in order to prevent that, I had to go ahead and bleach the tank here, and that pretty much will kill all of the beneficial bacterias and everything. But it's not like I haven't done that before. It's not like I haven't started from scratch before. I have done that, especially with this tank right here. This pair right here was actually spawning in a uncycled tank a couple months back, and right now the female is about to lay again. She's constantly laying, and you know, it goes to show that it's okay to start over as long as the new fish coming in are okay and doing well. If you guys look closely at this tank right here, there's small little white bugs that's on the glass right there, and those are the ones that will be harming the new fish. You know, there's always little critters. It's an ecosystem in here. It's an ecofauna up in here. All these fish are able to live okay in here and doing well because they're used to those now. Their immune system is not compromised. They're not being shipped or anything like that. They're not being bagged up and, you know, being stressed or anything like that. So that's why they're able to live in here. Since this is my first time bleaching a tank ever in my hobby experience, I don't know the dosage, so I did ask the owner, and according to him, he uses 6 caps full for a 40-gallon tank. With basic algebra, anyone can figure out the proper dosage for a fish tank of whatever size that they choose. So the owner told me to put 6 caps full for every 40-gallon tank. So I have a 100-gallon tank here, and I don't know how much to put in a 100-gallon tank. So with basic algebra, I pretty much just figure out what X is. So by doing that, I cross the two, and I ended up with 6 times 100, which is right here, and 40 times X. So I'm solving for X right here. Down here becomes 600 and 40X. And then to get rid of the 40 over here, I divided 40 by 40 and divided 600 by 40, and 15 is X right here. So that is the caps full that I'm supposed to be putting into this 100-gallon tank up here. So with basic algebra, anyone can find the proper dosage for this tank as long as they know what the dosage is. So it just doesn't have to be the 100-gallon tank. It can be any size tank. It could be a 29-gallon. You just have to do the math a little bit here. I also asked him what kind of bleach should I use. You know, the brand does matter, and he told me to use the Clorox bleach right here. So this is what I'm going to be using, and luckily my wife has this laying around and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and use the bleach in here, and I'm going to use the cap to measure it. With using any chemicals that is irritant to the skin, you always want to use personal protective equipment, and that means using gloves and pads in case it gets onto your hand, or in case it gets onto the floor, and it gets onto your skin of your foot or whatever. It's always good to have those there just to protect yourself from harm from the chemicals here. And if you guys have gotten this far into the video, I just want to thank you guys for watching my video all the way to this part here without clicking out or anything. It lets me know that, hey, I'm interesting enough to have you guys look at my video here. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel here so that you guys don't miss out on what's gonna happen next. Next video, part 2, I'm gonna be doing unboxing of these new angelfish. So stay tuned for that, guys. Right away, you can already see the little bugs and the little detritus worms and everything. They're like floating around and they're suffering and they're dying. And this goes to show that the bleach does work. It does kill off everything in here. They're just flying all over the place everywhere. And hopefully this will get this tank sanitized and everything. The detritus worm, they don't do anything to the fish. It doesn't harm the fish or anything like that. And you know, the little bugs and the little pathogens, all those little white floaties, they're all bugs, and right now they are being killed off and everything. And we can see that in here. And the owner told me to leave the bleach in here for 24 hours so that everything is dead in here. This tank right here will be totally sterilized. And the sponge filter too, I'm just gonna keep it running just so that it sucks in all of those bleach and everything. And along with like the core, the airline tubing right here too is all bleached out and everything, along with this heater. Everything in here, it will get treated. Everything in here will be sterile, and I'm happy for that. And looking forward to having this tank clean of all these little bugs right here, so that I can bring in those guys into here knowing that 100% they will be perfectly fine. After you put in the bleach, make sure you stir it up, otherwise it's just going to be more concentrated at one side. And the bleach, they do dissolve over time because it's just chlorine in there, and the chlorine will evaporate eventually with the bubbling and everything. So right now you just want to go ahead and get something to create water movement. And laying around in this fish room here, I really have nothing besides the egg crates right here. So this is what I'm doing to stir up all the stuff that's going on in here, all the little bacterias and, you know, pathogens and bugs that your fish is able to live normally with. But you know, with these new fish, they are very, very sensitive, and make sure that they don't die or anything whenever they come here, and just pretty much having a good clean startup. So you just want to go ahead and create as much turbulent as you can, mixing up the water and everything in this tank here, so that everything gets mixed up and everything is very well saturated with the bleach in here. With the airline tubing, I know that it will be a source of bacterial harboring, just because if I look closely right here, part of it is submerged while part of it is not submerged. So with the airline tubing here, just because the tank has been dosed with the bleach, it doesn't mean that it will kill off everything, because some might still be living on that part of the airline. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use a brand new airline right here. After I'm not gonna worry about reusing this one right here. And as for the heater, only a certain part of the heater, I think that part right there, the bend, it goes over the lip of this fish tank over here. Like it goes over that way into the outlet. So I went ahead and stuck the entire line right here into the fish tank in here, just so that it gets like cleaned and everything. That part right there will never reach inside of the tank, so once this is pulled out, it will be completely sterilized and everything. This filter in here is going to be in here and is completely submerged, so I'm not worried about that. I'm going to reuse that sponge filter, and also at the same time I will have to completely dry out outside. Alright, so I waited 15 minutes and already the tank is starting to look a little bit cloudy, just probably because everything's dying in here. And then the next step, you know, the owner didn't tell me to do this, but I'm just doing it myself, is getting a sponge right here and make sure it's fully submerged and everything. Make sure that it grabs all of the water that has the bleach in it, and washing the very edge. See the edge right here? Because this right here, the bleach is below the water line, but up here is where it's still moist, and bacteria and bugs will crawl up here. So I want to make sure that this area up here is all bleached up and everything, so that if anything crawls up here, they'll still die. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrub all of the corners right here, all around, and especially underneath here as well. Underneath here is where all the bacteria and all the bugs will crawl under and everything. So I just got to make sure this is all cleared out and clean and everything. I'm using a glove right now, but my hand will have to go underneath the water just so that I can get to the very edge of it. I will have to wash my hand very thoroughly after that. It won't hurt us or anything like that. It won't kill us, but it's just good practice to wash your hands, especially if you're working with chemicals. Alright guys, so it's been a whole week here, and that was since I last touched this tank here that you guys saw. And pretty much I didn't do anything to it at all. I'm supposed to like change the water out and everything, but life gets busy and I wasn't able to attend to this tank. I just pretty much left it here. And also at the same time, I didn't want to put my python hose in here or anything that would have been able to contaminate this sterile tank. Well, technically it's sterile, with like any of like the aquarium stuff that I have. So I went ahead and bought the new python here, and it took a while to come to my house, but this is all new, still in the package and everything. I'm gonna use this python right here to do my water change, and by doing that, it prevents any of the pathogens from the old python from getting from the hose into this tank right here. Pretty much I just want to keep this tank as clean as I possibly can. I did also get myself a new Fluval M200 heater. This is the medium sized one, and just in case that one in there don't work anymore. I feel like that one in there works, but because the tank is so large, it's not heating the aquarium evenly. And with other fish in here, they're doing fine and everything, but I gotta make sure that it is evenly heated. So that one is gonna stay over there, and then I'm gonna put the new one over here. So but for now, I'm gonna go ahead and drain the tank and refill it with water. There's some things that I want to do to this stand here before we continue on. All right, so I got the Python here, brand spanking new here. Very nice and clean here. This is gonna be the first time ever that it's going into an aquarium, and we just gotta create the suction a little here. There you go. Now the suction is created. I'm just gonna go ahead and vacuum all of the dead stuff in here, the dead bugs and everything. The tank here looks actually quite clear and clean. It doesn't seem to have any bugs or inhabitants in here at all, so that's pretty good to know. And putting new water in here from the sink, from the faucet with the chlorine and everything, it's gonna help continue killing anything in here without the water conditioner and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this filter here in a bit. I'm gonna take it outside and rinse it out. Alright, so the tank right now is currently being filled. It has been 100% drained and everything, and I did take out the sponge filter, and I'm gonna go outside and rinse the sponge filter off. But for now, the tank is just being filled up with regular tap water, cold tap water. Not using any heat or anything like that. That'll be definitely too much wasted hot water for no reason. Basically right now I'm just putting water in here so that it is completely filled, and whatever bugs that has survived in the duration of the week that was there, those bugs, they will be destroyed by the chlorine in the tap water here. And what this process does is that if there's any chemicals, any chlorine, or any extra stuff that comes with the bleach, if it gets like clinged onto the walls or whatever, it gets rinsed away. Pretty much right now the process is to diffuse any of those chemicals that might be clinging onto the walls of the tank, and I want to leach it back into the water, and so that when I change out the water, all that stuff will be gone from the tank here. That's through like diffusion and all that stuff, if it's like clinging onto the silicone or whatever. But yeah, right now I'm just filling it up and waiting another 24 hours before I empty out the tank and refilling it back up with water. I then took the sponge filter outside and I disassembled it, and I pretty much rinsed it off with the hose piece by piece here, as you guys see. And the bleach itself is safe if you know how to use it. Bleach is pretty much chlorine, and if you allow the chlorine to evaporate, that product will be safe for aquarium use. Now that means that it has to be completely dry in order for you to stick it back into the aquarium so that it is safe for life in the aquarium. My idea is that, hey, I'm gonna leave the sponge filter out here, let it sun dry, let it get blown by the wind so that all the chlorine evaporates. Alright guys, so the next step that I'm gonna be doing here, I did drain the tank already, and before doing that I want to do some cosmetics going on in here. And I'm gonna be painting this part right here blue. The reason being is because if the bottom of the tank is white or a lighter color, then the fish will appear light. The bars on their body, it will pretty much disappear. And I do want to see the bars, but I don't want to see the coloration on the bottom of the tank. Kind of like this one right here. This one is painted black on the bottom of the tank, and I don't like that aspect because this part right here, let's see, the glare here is pretty real, but this part right here is where the bracing of the tank is, just like up here, and I couldn't get to it. So that's why I didn't like this part right here. And you know, I didn't like to see the black coloration on the bottom of the tank here. Once I paint the tank will look like this. It will just be a, you know, normal coloration, like here, kind of like a mirrored color, and it won't be black or anything, and that's what I want. So that's the reason why I'm painting the bottom of the stand. So yeah, it's kind of like this one as well, where it's more mirrored and it's not like dark or anything like that. You don't see any black paint, and that's the reason why I'm painting this part right here like a dark blue coloration, so that the fish, they feel more at ease, and they show their bars more and more of the darker color without having the dark look on the bottom of the tank. So I did prep an area over here. I'm gonna go ahead and start painting it, and I'll show you guys how it looks like after I paint it. Alright guys, I have baby girl right here helping me out. Right here we have the painting tray, and we covered it with a handbag so that we can reuse it. Otherwise, if the paint just goes right into the tray, it's a one-time use. If the paint goes onto the bag on top, we can just take out the bag and you know, use a new bag, reuse the tray.
Painter's hack.
Yeah, painter's hack. And got
Painter's
this
hack on a budget.
got this one from Home Depot. I got the, yep, go ahead and open it. And I got the cheapest one, of course, just a little job. And the whole tray comes with this, what is this thing called?
What?
This thing right here, what is it called?
Roller?
Roller, yes. It comes with a roller. It's a $5 tray. And that's the paint right there. And over here I'm still working on taping it and getting everything taped down, so that I'm just taping the part where the bottom of the tank shows up. I don't want to paint this area right here, because this area right here will be white, and I kind of want it like this so that I don't see any of the blue showing up. And that's why I'm taping. I'm working on this while my very lovely wife here is helping me out over here with the paint. Go ahead. Alright guys, I had to put this video here on pause. Thank you for watching my video all the way to the very end here. This is only part 1. Part 2 will be coming sometime next week. So stay tuned for that. If you guys haven't subscribed, subscribe down below. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next video.